Hello and welcome to NHL Update. Today I will be talking about surprises in the Stanley Cup Playoffs so far this year. There have already been surprising eliminations starting in the first round. There were some favorites eliminated in the first round, like the Chicago Blackhawks and the LA Kings. And then in the second round, there were the Washington Capitals and Dallas Stars. The Dallas Stars because they were playing without star 7 Tyler Seguin the whole series. But the Washington Capitals nearly had everyone to full health, but the 3-game suspension of Brooks Orpik did hurt. The elimination of Cup favorites in the first round was kind of a shock. The Chicago Blackhawks were early favorites to win the whole thing, but the early elimination in the first round of the Blackhawks kind of ruined a lot of people's brackets, I would think. And some people had the LA Kings going to the finals as well. So that ruined some brackets as well. So you could say in the first round, the majority of brackets were destroyed. The Dallas Stars and Washington Capitals were two of the top seeds in their respective conferences. The Dallas Stars had the best record in the Western Conference, while the Washington Capitals had the best overall record in the whole NHL. The Washington Capitals were heavy favorites to win the entire thing, but like they always do, they couldn't come through in the clutch. Perhaps it was because they did not get any depth scoring from any of their bottom 6 players. Now, people are going to blame Ovechkin and the top 6, but they never got any production out of the bottom 6. When you don't get production out of the bottom 6, you're not going to win the playoffs. The Dallas Stars got production out of the bottom 6, but their major Achilles heel was their goaltending. They could not keep the pucks out of the net. So that is going to be one thing to look forward to in the offseason. Will the Dallas Stars go out and get a solid netminder? Because that is their major hole right now. The San Jose making the conference finals is a major surprise. I don't think anybody expected the San Jose Sharks to make the conference finals in the Western Conference because not that they're not a good team, but Thornton, Marlowe are 36-37. You don't expect these guys to have resurrecting careers right now, but they are having rejuvenating careers, and they are playing their best hockey in the recent years. Joe Thornton has just found the fountain of youth and is playing some of his best hockey in the recent years. Logan Couture is the leading point getter in the entire NHL right now in the postseason. He's playing tremendous hockey. So is Brent Burns. Brent Burns is the key to the San Jose Sharks because he anchors it and plays many minutes. The San Jose Sharks could very well end up winning the whole thing if they continue playing like they have this postseason. The Tampa Bay Lightning, still being an elite team without Steven Stamkos, could be considered a surprise, although it's not a surprise because they are a well-coached team that had an elite goalie in Ben Bishop before he got hurt. The Tampa Bay Lightning also got help with the emergence of Jonathan Drouin. Jonathan Drouin, before the postseason, was not that impact player they hoped he would be. But now, he is that go-to impact player that makes a difference every time he's on the ice. And that makes a difference. The Tampa Bay Lightning are a team that are very structured. They are a fast, skilled team that are really good at the counterattack. If you turn the puck over in the neutral zone, they will score. And Pittsburgh learned that the hard way in Game 1. The Pittsburgh Penguins have been dominant despite Crosby and Malkin not really playing all that well. Before Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals, Crosby had not had a goal since round 1. He didn't have a goal in the entire semifinals, and he didn't have a goal in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Evgeny Malkin has yet to break through yet, so we're still waiting on that. But in order for the Pittsburgh Penguins to win the series against Tampa Bay, they need Crosby and Malkin to not only get points, but they need to score as well. Because the Penguins have been winning those rounds because of the Hagelin, Kessel, and Bonino line, as well as the Matt Cullen line. Sticking on Pittsburgh, a big surprise was how well and composed Matt Murray was playing. With the injury to Marc-Andre Fleury at the beginning of the postseason, Marc-Andre Fleury had a concussion, and Matt Murray was forced into being the starting goaltender for the Pittsburgh Penguins. And he managed to not let the pressure of playoff hockey get to him. Not only did he not let the pressure of playoff hockey get to him, but he relished in the spotlight and he carried the Penguins to the Eastern Conference Finals. So far, Matt Murray has been a very good story for them. You can say that the Western Conference Finals matchup itself is a surprise because I don't know many people that predicted San Jose and St. Louis to be the Western Conference Finals. It was probably most likely Chicago and Anaheim, Chicago, LA, Chicago, Dallas, Chicago, LA, Chicago, Anaheim, or St. Louis, Anaheim, St. Louis, LA, but I don't think many people had this matchup in the Western Conference Finals. Another big surprise was the Game 7 blowouts in the semifinals. Both the San Jose Sharks versus Nashville Predators Game 7 and the Dallas Stars versus St. Louis Blues Game 7 and the Western Conference semifinals were blowouts. Both the Dallas Stars and the Nashville Predators got blown out in Game 7. I don't know if that has happened before, but I found it kind of strange that they just got blown out. But they got blown out in different fashions. The Nashville Predators just didn't have their A game. They were playing sloppy all game long, and San Jose just took it to them, and they never came back. The Dallas Stars, on the other hand, they actually played pretty well, but the momentum got deflated when Kerry Layton let in a few soft goals. I would say a big surprise is how many star players got injured. You have injuries to Stamkos, Sagan, Bishop, and Marc-Andre Fleury. These are star players that play huge roles to their team. I talked about Steven Stamkos earlier, with the Tampa Bay Lightning still being an elite team despite Stamkos being out. But Stamkos is still an important player to their team because he adds a new dimension to their lineup. Tyler Seguin is a bigger part of the Dallas Stars than you think. Tyler Seguin, if he were in the lineup against the St. Louis Blues, they would have to respect his shot. He adds a new dimension to a power play especially. And they're a way more dynamic offensive team with Sagan in the lineup. With Ben Bishop out day to day with a leg injury, Tampa Bay Lightning have the luxury of having a good backup goalie in Andrei Vasilevskiy, but he is still no Ben Bishop. A major difference between Bishop and Vasilevskiy is Bishop's puck handling skill. Bishop is an extremely good puck handling goalie, meaning he can help start the breakout, and that really helps the defense. Especially if you have a defensive pairing that isn't really good at getting the puck out of the defensive zone. That helps the defense out a lot. And the last one is Marc-Andre Fleury. He started off the postseason with a concussion, and he basically had his job taken by Matt Murray. Although Pittsburgh hasn't officially said this, he kind of got his job taken by Matt Murray this postseason. And the last point I want to touch on is, do you not need an elite goalie to win in the NHL postseason anymore? Before, in the old days, you would have to have an elite goalie to win the Stanley Cup. You think back on all the good teams, they had elite goalies. If you wanted to win a cup, you needed to have an elite goalie. But look at the final four teams right now. You have San Jose, you have Martin Jones. Is he an elite goalie? No. You have St. Louis, Brian Elliott. Is he an elite goalie? No. You have Pittsburgh Penguins, Matt Murray. Is he an elite goalie? Can he be? Possibly, but he's not yet. You have Ben Bishop, who is an elite goalie, but he's injured right now. So you have Vasilevskiy. Is he an elite goalie? No, not yet. So with the four remaining teams, the only elite goalie left is Bishop, possibly. And he is an elite goalie, but he is injured. So Vasilevskiy is the goalie that's starting. So you don't have any elite goalies left playing. So is that saying that you don't need an elite goalie to win in the playoffs anymore? That's something to think about. Maybe, perhaps if you build up your forwards in defense and have a good structured team, then maybe you can get by with just a solid goaltender. Look at the Chicago Blackhawks. Corey Crawford may not be considered an elite goalie, but he's a solid goalie that can play good when the time comes and make clutch stops. All right, so that will do it for the surprises in the Stanley Cup playoffs so far this year. Next episode, I'll be talking about and making some predictions on the regular season awards.